Welcome to Mogul. The purpose of Mogul is to give you the practice that you need in running a business. You can make the decisions that a manager will typically make when they're running a business and see the effects of those decisions on how well your business does. It's a very dynamic environment. Getting started with Mogul is easy. First thing that you'll need to do is create a student account and then sign up for the particular simulation that your instructor is using. You can access directions for creating your student account by clicking on the Quick Start link that is available when you select the Need Help link. Right now, I'd like to just give you a tour around the simulation so that you'll know what Mogul is all about. Okay, let's proceed. I have a demonstration student set up. I want to go in as that student and take a look around. And now I'm taken to the Industry Central screen. The main purpose of this screen is to allow you to choose which of the two versions of Mogul you wish to play. There's a team version of this simulation. This version allows you to compete head-to-head against other students in your particular course to see which team will be the most successful. There is also a solo version of Mogul. In the solo version, you are competing against 5 computer-driven competitors. When you are first starting out, solo is probably the best way to learn the simulation quickly. Once you know the basics, then you'll be ready to play the team version of the simulation. There is also a solo exam version of Mogul. If your instructor decides to use that version, an icon for that game will show when you log into your student account. After a moment, the solo version of the simulation comes up. On my screen, I can see that there are 2 separate panels that I want to talk about. The one that I am currently looking at is called the Mogul Map, and this shows you a high-level view of the whole simulation. Think of this as your roadmap to running your business. You can see in the simulation there are 3 main areas to be aware of: marketing, operations, and finance. This is much the same as in a real business. As a manager, you're frequently going to be making decisions in each of these areas. In marketing, you're going to choose things like pricing, advertising, hiring and firing salesmen, etc. In operations, you're going to be ordering raw material and building plants. I encourage you to take a balanced approach in running your business. Successful managers don't have the luxury of focusing on just one area of the business. They have to balance all areas of the business to ensure that their business is successful. In Mogul, you're going to have to do the same. To give you a quick look at what marketing decisions you will make, let me go to the Marketing Decisions panel. I can open that panel from the Mogul Map by clicking on that icon. I can now see the marketing decisions that I will need to make as I manage my business. I can choose my price, quality, web marketing, etc. So you will have a number of decisions to make regarding how you want to market your products. Whatever Mogul panel you are using, there's help available to you. So, for instance, if you don't understand what one of these decisions are all about, just mouse over the label for that decision and a dialog box will pop up that describes that item. Just like in a real business, you can't make your decisions in a vacuum. You have to look at the current status of your business. You need to know what the competition is doing, and you need to understand the market. So before I start entering decisions here, I need to get some of that information. To understand how your business is doing within the market, Mogul provides a series of reports for you to look at. To look at some of these reports, let's go back to the map. Well, we can see from the map that there are quite a number of different reports in each of the 3 areas. In marketing, I have a marketing research report and a sales and administration research report. In operations, I have raw material, workforce, and plant and warehouse reports, and then these reports feed into a costs of goods sold, or COGS, report. Once I know my S&A and COGS, then I can look at some of my financial reports, such as cash flow and my income statement. So you can see there's a certain flow of information within the simulation, and in fact, this flow is exactly the same flow when you run a business in the real world. Let's take a look at one of those reports. I'm going to choose Costs of Goods Sold. We can see that there's a lot of information here. Let me take a few moments and explain what we're seeing at a high level. You're running a small manufacturing company. This company produces 2 products within a given region. In this COGS report, I can see what it costs me to manufacture my product, and then, based on those numbers, I can get an overall summary of what it costs me to produce my product. In Mogul, as in the real world, this COGS report is a very important one to you as a manager. One advantage of the reports in Mogul is that they're live, so you can use the reports as a calculator of sorts to see the effects of the decisions that you make. So, for instance, suppose I decide to hire more people. I can see exactly what that's going to cost me. Let's do that. I'm going to return to the Mogul Map. I'm going to hire a few more production workers. And now, if I return to my COGS report, I can see that some of my worker costs have now changed, and those changes pole vault throughout the rest of this report. In fact, there were probably many reports that were affected by that change, such as my workforce report, my COGS report, my income statement, and my cash flow. That's a good lesson to learn. As a business person, when you change one thing in one area, it has a ripple effect throughout your entire business. You need to be aware of those ripple effects so that you're not blindsided by something unexpected. As I mentioned before, as you play this simulation, you're going to be making a series of decisions in each of the three areas of marketing, operations, and finance. Once you've made your decisions, you'll need to save them. Saving the decisions is quite easy. We'll just use the Save Decisions link on the Tools menu. I can either save these decisions under a new name or save them as my default decision. I'm going to leave them as a default decision, and now I'll click Save. If I'm comfortable with the decisions I've made in running my business, the next step is to process the current quarter and see how I did compared to my competition. To process the current quarter, I'll click on the link provided in the map. Note that in the team version, your instructor will process the quarter, not you. Your ability to process the quarter is unique to the solo version of Mogul. After a few seconds, I'm returned back to Mogul, and I can now see I'm in quarter 2 of the simulation. To see how I did with my first quarter of decisions, I can look at a number of different reports. Probably the best report to start with would be the Game Performance Report. A link to that is also available under the Tools section of the Mogul Map, so I'll click on that. As you would expect, since I didn't make very many decisions in my first quarter, my company did not perform very well in the simulation. I sold $623,000 worth of product, but the rest of the industry sold quite a bit more. And I was towards the bottom in net income. If I scroll down in this report, I can get a total summary of how I'm doing compared to the competition. I can see in the industry ranking that my team is ranked number 5 out of 6. So, frankly, I'm not doing very well compared to the rest of the industry. If I were actually playing this particular simulation, I would use this information to improve some of my decisions in future quarters. For now, I'm just going to close this report and return back to the simulation. From here, there's quite a bit more information that Mogul will give you about running your simulated business. To see some of that information, I switched over to a different sample student who's a little further along in the game. When I bring up Mogul for this particular student, a different panel first appears. This panel is called the Industry Dashboard. You'll notice that as you play the simulation, the Industry Dashboard will start appearing after the third quarter of play. This dashboard is intended to give you a good picture of what is going on in your total business. There is a separate tutorial just on this dashboard that I urge you to view. We can see that my sample student still isn't doing very well. With any of the graphs, you can always drill down to get more information. Drilling down is a very simple thing to do. I just go to the graph that I'm interested in, put my mouse on the line or the bar, and click. And now I can see more information about various aspects of this business. For this particular company, the expenses have grown very high, whereas sales and net income have lagged behind. Again, if I want more information, I can click again to get even a closer view. What now appears is the company's income statement, and I can see a breakdown of where they've been spending their cash. Something of interest to note here is in my bar chart. There's a red box around the income statement breakdown. That's Mogul's way of telling you that something bad is happening in the current quarter and that you should probably focus on this part of the simulation. In addition to these graphs, you can also chart any of the decisions or report variables that you want. So, for instance, if I want to see what the net sales have been doing over time, I can click on the charting icon next to the particular variable. I recommend that you watch the tutorial on embedded graphs to fully understand the value of these graphs that are embedded within Mogul. The final way for you to understand what's going on in your business is to ask the business consultant. There are a variety of business consultants that are programmed into the simulation to help you to understand what's happening with your business. To see a business consultant, I'll just choose the Business Consultant panel. And then I'll click on the Business Consultant icon to expand out the advice that they're giving me. As you view your reports and make your decisions, I strongly encourage you to come back to the Business Consultant to see what the Business Consultant is considering as you make your decisions. It's worth noting that the Business Consultant goes away automatically after 8 quarters of play. So that's a good overview of what the simulation is all about. Your next step should be to either experiment around with Solo or watch the next tutorial on making decisions within Mogul. I hope you enjoy playing the Mogul simulation. Good luck!